government policies, education, economy, social development, amongst others.
We're happy to announce today that both the federal government and the organized labor have agreed on an increase on the 62,000 naira minimum wage.
Join
AJAYI
and
Adedamola Lafenwa
on from the dailies every weekday from 9:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. on Solutions 93.9 FM as they dive into the headlines with in-depth analysis and feedback from you on different stories from the national dailies. Start your day by gaining fresh perspectives, uncovering the story behind the story, and join the conversation. Because your voice matters. From the dailies, the conversation never stops.
It's a beautiful, one would say, cold Thursday morning, but I would say it's a happy Thursday and a beautiful Thursday right here on the Remedy Radio Dial, Solutions 93.9 FM. A lot of matters are rising in the nation, things to be talked about and discussed. Human rights activists detained. We have the EFCC shedding light and, pointing a light on some fraudulent activities. And of course, the incident on Tuesday at the Abuja airport will also be on the spotlight this morning on From the Dailies. My name is Favor Oloruntola. I'll be going through some of the headlines shortly, and then I will reach out to Comrade Ayodeji Ajishokbe, and then we're going to discuss in depthly on all of the stories that will be that have been identified, and we will talk about it, and God willing there will be solutions to it. Please don't change the dial. Please stay tuned. Nation newspaper, I said earlier about the EFCC, launching probes into some of the estates. And here it is written thus: money laundering, EFCC launches probe into real estate. Agency secures and something about infrastructure of 15 estates, and low public servants are involved. Our public servants are involved. But on the Nation as well, we have free health care for low-income pensioners is also written thus. Well, there are torrents of tributes for media icon Doyin Abiola. Well, we are going to talk about that as well. On the Punch newspaper this morning, it says, foreign investors sell off 576 billion naira Nigeria stocks in 6 months. Outflow soars 85% year on year. Economists cite Trump-era policies shift towards Treasury bill. Well, let's have more here on the Nigerian Tribune. Many abandoned estates funded by corrupt civil servants. EFCC vows to beam searchlight on real estate sector. Now, there is a story on the Kwamwan incident on the Nigerian Tribune. NACA suspends ValueJet pilots over safety breach at Abuja airport. Accuses Kwamwan of breaching aviation regulation. Well, there is politics here. Uncertainty in APC. PDP, LP, others ahead of Anambra, Osun, Ekiti, Guba polls. All eyes on Tinubu, LP banks on Peter Obi. And then we have Tinubu, Sanwo-Olu, and GE others pay tributes as Doyin Abiola dies at 82. On the Vanguard newspaper, "2027 options before the North face tough choice over Tinubu, Jonathan, Atiku, Obi, and Mechi." And there is still the story of the many abandoned estates in Abuja owned by civil servants, EFCC. Well, FG approved tax incentives for manufacturers using local raw materials. And WAEC parents group wants papers cancelled. There was this report as well that the result checker has been shut down for a bit because of something regarding maintenance and a lot of things. We'll discuss that as well. If you check your time, it is 9:38. Very soon, I'll be reaching out to Comrade Ayodeji Ajishokwe. Please stay tuned. Thank you for staying tuned. Comrade Ayodeji Ajishokwe, it's a beautiful morning to you. Are you also cold or as warm as I am?
Well, coffee does the magic.
Oh, okay. So it means that you're cold.
Coffee does the magic.
Coffee does the magic. Okay. For me, it is quite, happiness that is doing the magic this morning for me. But then I know that coffee, happiness, and whatever it is that makes everyone, warm at this moment, it definitely will work for them. It's a beautiful Thursday morning to you. Good morning, sir.
I tell you, it's a beautiful morning. It's a beautiful morning in this sprawling city of Ibadan.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move to the, the matters arising. Let's first talk about the estates the EFCC has been discussing, talking about civil servants, having the estates, and then it's beaming as though it is fraudulent. Many abandoned estates funded by corrupt civil servants, that is in Abuja, EFCC, vows to beam searchlight on real estate sector. I want to believe that it's not the first time the EFCC will launch an investigation and it's never going to come to a conclusion, ever.
Hello?
Can you hear me, sir?
Loud and clear.
Yes. Did you hear what I said?
Yes, about EFCC investigation about property in Abuja
Yes.
belonging to civil servants.
Yes.
Yes, I don't think this is the very first time. In the days of Buhari, when Buhari came into office, a lot of properties, a lot of estates, were discovered to be unoccupied. You and I know that in Nigeria, unlike advanced countries, where property funding, is tied to some other financials, here you build with your own money. You don't go borrow money to build, mortgage, and all of that. So it is solid ground where property always pays. You invest in property, it pays. It appreciates a value. It never, in Nigerian context, depreciates in value. And especially when you have illicit funds, you understand,
Yeah.
in your possession, the transaction of those illicit funds are usually done in cash, you understand?
Okay.
That is one of the reasons that was responsible for the unofficial the devaluation of the naira. I do the transaction, you understand, illicit transaction. I get 10% of a contract sum as a civil servant located in the chain, of the award. There is a 1 billion naira transaction. I get 10% cut. It is not paid into my account. It is given to me cash, either in Nigerian naira or US dollars. That's that. I can't just keep the cash. What do I do? The easiest thing that you can do is buy property, build property, acquire property, physical property. You understand? That is store of value. For some people, for women especially, store of value is in jewelry. You understand? Gold, and other metals. But men will put their store of value, especially illicit, in property. Understand? So that's why you have so many estates. And the funny thing is that the value of those estates, those who rent it out value it at the current market value. Therefore, people are not in a position to take them and occupy. You understand?
Yeah.
Because I would not say, because I got my money, 100% free, I didn't work for it, I didn't pay for it. Therefore, if rent in Asokoro is 1 million naira per square meter, because my money is free funds, I will do my own 500,000 per square meter. You understand?
Yeah.
It is not charity. So that's why you have so many of them unoccupied. And but you see, all those things are traceable. They have titles, you understand? And the titles are traceable, except you want to. And if I hide my illicit funds with somebody, you understand, who cannot substantiate, his wealth, who cannot validate how it got. I mean, if I have $1 billion naira, I should be able to say, this is how I got it. This is the transaction. Whether I was dashed, whether I did a job, whether I was paid for whatever, whether it is inheritance, I should be able to explain. Any wealth you cannot explain, is illicit, it's illegal, if not criminal. So, what we just hope is that these things will be followed up conclusively.
That is what I'm talking about. We are on, this thing is under investigation. It's under investigation. It's never concluded. When it comes to investigations, we never get the end result of this investigations. We will just see that it's under investigation. We will never get the conclusion.
That is right. You see, there is what they call the office of the citizen. And I think they say that office of the citizen is more powerful than any other office. I do not see the civil society organizations and then playing the role they played. You see, their role in the days of the military was to checkmate them and get them out of office. But now we are in a civil era. Their role ought to have evolved, to be agents of, oversight. Agents of oversight. We have seen people lose property to anti-corruption agencies, and when they are back in the good books of whatever government or administration, some of those things are released to them, if not all. We have seen it over and over again since 1975. Properties that were seized, even under Mortal Ambassador, were returned to people after some time. That is not good enough. And I think the office of the citizen too should go after these things in oversight. Keep track continuously.
I hope that is possible, because we never keep track in Nigeria. We just say and we never find the end to whatever it is that we say we're going to do. Well, let's move away from that. Let's talk about other present matters so we can leave, the program this morning. On the issue of the incident that occurred on Tuesday with a very popular musician in Nigeria, and the flight attendant, the pilot of the airport in Abuja. We are hearing this morning that NCAA has suspended the ValueJet pilot because of the safety breach at the Abuja airport. And now they've also accused Kwam1 of breaching the aviation regulations. But let me talk about the one that occurred. Was that not 2 months ago? With I want to remember his name. Oshiomole, yes, with Oshiomole.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember that I spoke about it. I talked about the fact that, prominent figures in Nigeria do not want to respect the rules and regulations of some guiding institutions. And when it does get to a point where it is not in their favor, it turns to a very public kind of display, which is not right. Now, first one was done, second was done. Yes, what he did, he actually wanted to obstruct, the runway. He wanted to, just ground it when he was obviously told to let go of some things that were not allowed on flight, but insisted that he wanted to because he's a prominent figure. Of course, that is that. And then we talk about the pilot himself taking off, knowing that he needs to, be very conscious of the safety of the people on the runway. Let's look at both in those instances. Who is to blame here?
What happened on Tuesday and the video in circulation, it was a shocking one. The narration was that the gentleman musician here had a flask with him. And they said, well, by the size of this flask, which normally holds a liquid, you cannot go in with it. 100 milligrams. 100 milligrams is 10 tablespoons. That anything in excess of 100 milligrams of liquid, you cannot take it on board. And just having a flask. Let's say the flask was half a liter. That is, let's say it is half a liter, not even 1 liter. That is 500 cl. That is 5 times over the, what is admissible. And in the process, they discovered that flask was actually holding alcohol. Because they say some of it spilled in the process of, struggles with him and all of that. No. You are going to put this on the flight. I don't think this all of this short flight of 2 minutes and 1 hour or thereabout. I don't think they serve alcohol. Now, they eventually succeeded in preventing him from boarding. board. No, I think they prevented him from boarding.
From boarding, yes.
And they were loitering around the aircraft. Everything is scheduled. They shut the aircraft. The moment they shut the aircraft door, you know that preparation for takeoff were in top gear. And they were still loitering around the aircraft. You know the wingspan of the aircraft is probably 20 feet or more, from what I saw. And they were loitering around with even aviation officials. Ordinarily, it should have been apprehended and taken away from that location for proper procedures. You understand? Because when you are deboarded, you are not just deboarded. You are deboarded for reasons of posing a risk or a threat. You understand? That is the only reason why people are deboarded. And when you are deboarded, there are procedures they will take you through. The airport aviation security ought to have taken him into their office for proper procedures. You understand? You record these things. You incident it. You must. But big men in Nigeria are not subjected to the rules. So they were, he was there. And he was engaging them in a banter instead of removing him and themselves from that place. And probably the value jet pilot who was thinking that this irritant, that they should get out of the way. I saw the man accelerate. Yes, he swung. He tried to swing away. You understand? But how are you going to swing a 20-something wingspan away from people who are standing directly under it? And I think it was that musician alone. His head was almost cut by the wing of the aircraft. But then the thing keeps him. What if? But of course, when the aircraft is going to accelerate, move away, you are going to hear the engine rev, And, they're very dangerous. Aircraft engines suck people in too.
Yes, it does.
When he was revving, they could have, if he was badly located, it could have sucked him in. And that was totally unprofessional. That was totally unprofessional. Totally unprofessional. That was a dangerous thing to have done, to try to take off when there were still people,
Why would he decide to still stay there when he knows that there's a risk to
It was not the only. He was not the only one standing there.
I know that
people too were there.
I know that it must have been the back and forth. Ekurombi Bayi. Why would you deboard me?
No, it is not Ekurombi Bayi. They should have, if it was somebody else, they should have physically removed him.
That is the thing. That is what we call preferential treatment. They couldn't do that because obviously, a recording of his conversation with the president was also played at that point.
He could have died. He was to have been removed physically from that location. The moment he was deboarded or prevented from going on air to the aircraft, it should have been taken away. All these procedures, let me tell you, all these procedures are timed. They say body takes so time. And aircraft departures are procedures timed. That's why they tell you estimated time of arrival. That's why it's departure time. That's why they tell you all this, everything is timed. But of course, it was totally unprofessional. What did he kill him?
Thank God for
what
life.
did he keep him? He could have lost his license.
Well, he's been suspended. The pilots, both pilots have been suspended. So we're going to have, because the FAAN has decided to launch an investigation into this matter, investigation upon investigation. Huh? Hello, comrade? Hello, comrade?
Yeah, you.
Okay, I have lost connection with you. Can you still hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Well, the FAAN has launched, an investigation into this matter. We'll see how it really pans out and how it turns out. Like you said, the pilots may lose their licenses.
I hope the man will be apprehended. the rules. That was misconduct. That was terrible misconduct. Terrible misconduct.
All right. At this point, let me say bye-bye. Let's quickly play our tribute to Doyan Biola, who actually died at the age of 82.
Yeah. Dr. Doyisola Abuaba, intellectual in the media space, dignified, first female managing director, first female editor in chief, first female editor of a national newspaper, and she was in that space for 30 something years. She remained a very dignified character all through. Condolences to her daughter and to the entire Abiola family. May she find peace.
Amen. Thank you very much, sir, for that.
Thank you.
I also, wish them the fortitude to bear the loss, and my condolences extended to the family as well. Thank you. Have a wonderful day,
Thank
sir.
you.
Catch you next week
You
Thursday
too.
by the grace of God.
By God's grace.
Bye.
By God's grace. Bye.
Well, the talking and the conversation has been with Comrade Ayodeji Ajishope. My name is Favor Oloruntola. Like I said when I started the program, please, no matter what, make yourself happy. And with that, I want to say happy birthday to Alhaji Musa Adekunle. And that's from Mr. Taufik. And then I also want to wish Seth Omotade a very happy birthday. Seth, happy birthday to you. And this is dedicated to the two of you. Long life and prosperity. My name is Favor Oloruntola. Have yourself a wonderful and beautiful day.